Hey guys, tonight we're going to work on this neck for our Strat rebuild. Get started right now. Okay, for our Strat rebuild of this Ariana Strat copy, tonight time to do some neck work. I'm going to clean up this fretboard, which is nasty. Clean up this head. I already took the tuners off, string trees. You can see this was already sanded by someone else to try to give it a little bit smoother playing, I guess, but we're gonna sand it way down till it's clean. Haven't decided quite what I want to do with this yet. I'm going to keep the logo, so I'm either going to work around it or I might just clean this off and leave this as it is. I don't know, but I'm going to get started. Cleaning, sanding, and we'll take a look at the frets, and which I really don't know what to think about them at this point, but they're pretty grimy, I know that. And take a look at this nut too. That's going to come out of there and get replaced. But all right, let's get started. All right, there are advantages and disadvantages to having two workshops, one upstairs, one downstairs. I have to carry stuff back and forth. I don't like to do any sanding upstairs. It's going to make too much of a mess. So I kind of do that down here. The map thing. What they do downstairs too. For this cleanup job. Naphtha from Home Depot and toothbrush. Put some on the lid. I highly recommend wearing gloves. This stuff will dry your skin right out, make your hands all white, flaky looking. Let's see. We'll start with a little cleaning up here. I've done some of this with a rag the other day on this headstand. All right, sandpaper wise, for the back of this neck, to get everything cleaned off, you can see where the, I don't know, the finish almost looks like it was sprayed on after the machine heads were put on. But to get this all uniform, I'm going to start with 220, and then some 320, and then some 400. Get it nice and smooth. It all depends. I might not even need the 400, but we'll see. But I'm going to start with a piece of 220. Probably much better if you could see what I was doing. Alright, I just usually cut a piece off with the scissors and go from there. Now there's several ways to approach this. Straight with your hand, sanding block for something flat, like this is a nice flat sanding block I have to do to the back of this. If I want to keep it uniform, I might want to this will also give you an idea just how flat your piece is. You can see the finish is starting to come off here, but got a ways to go. Off to a good start. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, just the light sanding, you can already see the difference between up here and down here with the 220. Excuse me, 220. So I'm going to continue on with this, do up along these sides here. I'm going to save this for last because I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. Get all this part done. And we'll go from there. All right, 2 words of warning here. When you get up here to the heel where you're going to be plugging this into the body of your guitar, you don't want to take too much off of this part, because this neck, although when it's bolted in was pretty good, take the bolts out and you can feel how sloppy it really is, and you don't want to add to that sloppiness by taking too much material off of this. So try to kind of get the finish off, and I have actually changed my mind, and the edge of the fretboard here I'm sanding pretty good, because I'm going to refinish that so it looks nice. These parts here where the curve is, these curves, this takes a lot of work. It's a lot of pushing, pressure with your fingers. Get those grooves nice and clean. This edge here around the top, extra tedious. It's worth it if you really get it sanded well. These curves in here also. When you're using finger pressure to it, it's not always the easiest thing to get it uniform. But I think I did a pretty good job here, cleaning this up relatively well. I didn't take all too much off here, but enough to make it smooth. To where I don't see any finish on there. Maybe a little bit right here. Again, this is a place where you want to be careful. Leading into that heel pocket there where the neck bolts on. Okay, I think that's pretty good with a 220. I'm going to use a little bit of 320 and go over it some more. Maybe not as hard, maybe not as much, but at least all over the whole piece. All right. Wow, it's smooth now with the 320. Smoothed out these edges nicely. All that old finish is off there. Actually, I don't think I'm going to go any further than the 320. I think the 400 would be overkill. 320 leaves enough grain. When I put the tongue oil on there, it will have a good surface to bite. Now, the only thing I have to worry about is what am I going to do about this logo. Okay, I've been thinking about what I want to do here, and I think rather than attack this with sandpaper, I'm going to start with some 4/0 steel wool. See what that does. I ran a little bit of this up here on the end of the fretboard by the nut, and it really seemed to shine things up. So the only thing I'm really concerned about is this spot right here. It's a little dull in there, scraped. The naphtha cleaned it up pretty well, but I just want to see if I can just give it a little more pizzazz without stripping it down to bare wood and without affecting this logo. Can't really tell if it's helping. Okay. You can really see this piece, this part I'm talking about right here. Did smooth the finish out a bit. I'm going to go with this a little bit further. Actually, once the tuners are on there, I don't even know if people would be able to see this part. Probably breaking a cardinal rule here, going against the grain, going in circles, but sometimes you have to go against the grain to get marks out, and then go back with the grain to smooth it back up. Well, now I can see when I hold it in the light. It's definitely smoothed that finish out nicely. Everywhere except on the logo where I didn't really go over it. I know it has finish on it, but I'm going to do this very gingerly. In fact, just kind of let it slide over top. Keep an eye on the light while I'm at it. And I think I can probably blend that in. Without damaging that logo. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'll take that. Just wish this part would look a little better. But I guess we're going to have to take what we can get here without stripping this all off. All right, I'm going to go with that. Looks a little cleaner, a little smoother. Logo's intact. Probably put a coat of tung oil right over top of that along when I do the rest of this. And it should smooth it out pretty nice. What I want to do is fill these holes in here where the old machine heads were. Right now they're filled with sawdust, but I'm going to use some wood glue and a little really fine sawdust and fill these in. And then sand over this again before I put the finish on. So let me get set up to do that. All right, first thing I'm going to do here is take a toothpick and just get that sawdust that's in there out. That way when I put my glue in there, it has some place to go. I have some refined sawdust I collected. This is a combination of pine and red oak. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of tight bond and take my time here. Just put a little bit of glue take a little bit of glue. Make sure it gets down in that hole. I'll just start with these three. Actually, I'll use a little more glue. You want to make sure you get the glue down in that hole. Take some of the sawdust, just put it on top. Kind of force it down into the holes. Kind of makes sort of a natural wood putty. All right. Now I got those all filled in, puffed up, covered over. I know what you're thinking. Well, it looks like hell. Yeah, it does look like hell. But the whole thing is, by sanding this smooth first, and then making the holes accessible cleanly, this will take a lot better. And all I have to do is sand this off, and this just becomes like hardened wood putty. So when that dries, sand that off, go over this again with the 220 and then the 320, and then should be ready to go. Now the holes for the string trees, I'm going to leave as they are. I'm not going to mess with them. But I think that'll turn out nicely. You'll see. You'll see. You just wait. Doubting Thomas. All right. While we're waiting for this to dry, I really like the way this this part right here looks after hitting it with that steel wool. So I think I'm going to hit this fretboard with a steel wool and see what happens. Could be my imagination, but I think it looks better. Now I'm going against the grain here. Of course, it's what I do. But I just want to experiment a little bit. Yeah, it seems to be cleaning this up pretty nicely. You see these, I don't know if you can see it, right here, like this stuff. Steel wool's taking that out of there. And I thought it was wear marks, but I'm not sure. It might just be advanced dirt. But this seems to be cleaning that up. And I think if I go this way, go with the grain, I think that's going to be pretty good. I polish this up with some fretboard oil. I think it's going to look pretty nice. I'm going to continue on with that, and I'll take a look at it when it's done. And for those of you who are freaking out because, oh, don't ever use steel wool on your fretboard. Don't use steel wool on your frets because it'll get in your pickups. Well, guess what? I don't have any pickups, so I'm using steel wool. So let me finish this up and we'll see what it looks like. All right, finished the fretboard with the steel wool. I started going this way against the grain, went in against all the edges, and then I went back over this way with the grain. And I have to say, honestly, it looks 100% better than it did. I mean, it actually looks pretty darn nice. and I didn't even put any oil or anything on it yet. However, the steel wool on these frets cleaned them up a bit and also led me to see some dings, especially down at these ends. You know, this is where you're playing a lot of chords when you're first starting out. And most of the rest of the frets, a couple dings here and there. But what I'm going to do, and this is going to be another project, another evening, is do a preliminary check on these frets. I'll check out how level the fretboard is, and I'll check out how level the frets are with a fret rocker, and then I might check the height by marking these with a marker and then going over them lightly with my sanding block and find the high spots, and then maybe crown the high spots if they're not bad. They don't look too bad. I don't think it's going to need a whole fret job, but it might need some touch up here and there. But I say again, I am happy with the way this steel wool job turned out. And maybe you wouldn't want to do this while you have the guitar together and you have your pickups on, because it does get kind of everywhere. That's what they make magnets for. You have a little magnet you can go over. You would cover your pickups anyway if you were ever using steel wool on your frets while the guitar was assembled. But it's not assembled. I do believe it looks pretty good. It's actually a quite attractive fretboard. I do want to take this nut out of here too. Don't like the plastic nut. So, let's see if I can do that now. Generally all it takes is tap with the right tool. Something subtle. Loosened it up a little because I don't have my full tool set down here. Generally, if there's a little glue holding it in there, tap with a hammer like that. Knock it loose. It is loose. I can feel it moving. I just don't want to here we go. Voila. Plastic nut. I'll probably put a nice Graphtec tusk nut in there. That's what I generally use. So now that I have that out, see, your steel wool tends to deteriorate, so it's not wholly untrue that it's not great to use on a fretboard. But all right, nuts out, as they say. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for tonight. This has to dry. Once this dries overnight, and then I can go over it, sand it real well till it's down flat, and hopefully I won't have any divots in there, and it should just be level where the holes were. If not, I can always touch it up again. But so far so good. I think we're coming out with a pretty decent looking neck. It's only going to get better. Get these frets taken care of. Probably do a little bit better job. Once I get the frets worked, if they need to be worked, then I will I'll do a final once over on this. Once the finish is on it, frets are all done, go over this fretboard again real nice, some polish. But we have a clean bare neck. Might go over it one more time. Or the finish, once I get this smoothed out, one more time for kind of a finish sand. We'll put some tongue oil on this bad boy and all right, thanks for tuning in and helping me with this neck. Next time we'll do the finish sanding, get some tongue oil on here, probably check the frets out before we put the tongue oil on. So it'll be finish sanding, check the frets for uniformity and flaws, and if anybody needs a touch-up or a crowning, or if I need to do a whole fret job or whatever. Then we'll put the finish on it, put the finish on the fretboard, and it'll be ready to mount. So until next time, see ya.